Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video with my 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5 all-wheel drive limited. So today's video, we're going to take a look at some of my recent charging experiences. For this one here, this was actually my very first time charging the car. I just picked up the car that morning from the Medford, Long Island, New York area. I left the dealer with around 90% charge, and then drove about 170 miles, highway miles, to this Electrify America charging station near my house, which has 150 kilowatt hour chargers. So this is a station that I plan to use most of the time, as it's only about a half mile away from my house, and as you can see, it was an average day, around 35 degrees in the afternoon, and I ended up averaging close to 100 kilowatts per hour. For this charge session, I had been in and out of the car all morning, basically driving for 30 minutes and then getting out for 30 minutes, then hopping back in and repeating probably 2 or 3 times. I don't have a battery temperature monitor, but if I had to guess, the battery temperatures are probably lower for this session than the one before. Similar driving as the session before, about 30 minutes on and then 30 minutes off, and then repeat once or twice. The battery temperature should have been about the same as the one before, but this was a slightly warmer day, and I also started the charge at 67% and went past the 80% threshold, which is when they start throttling down. So this one here is actually the best one that I've gotten yet. Unfortunately, I didn't get to stay there for the full 30 minutes, as I had to run a little early, but in any case, I left in the morning with around 85% charge and drove about 70 miles on the New Jersey Expressway. I had a 30-minute meeting, then I got back in and drove the 70 miles back to the EA charger near my house. We saw probably best case scenario in terms of charging speed here, since this charger maxes out at 150. What's interesting is that it was only 54 degrees out. It's a nice day for Philadelphia, but I thought it would still be kind of too cold to hit best case scenario with the charger. But in any case, we would have done the 20 to 80% charge in about half an hour at this charger, which is rated for 150 kilowatts per hour. If it were a 250 or a 350 kilowatt charger, man, it definitely would have done the 18-minute estimate, I think. So for this last one, I actually ended up going back in the afternoon for a quick charge, as I had to pop in to Target to grab some stuff. It was the exact same temperatures outside, but the car had been sitting for 3.5 hours, and we also crossed the 80% charge mark. So the charger would have slowed down after that. So for the next few photos, you'll see my at-home charging speeds with my level 1 charger provided by Hyundai. It comes built in with 3 settings: minimum, reduced, and maximum. And at least for me, going through the outlet in my garage, which is 110 volt, the max I was seeing was 1.3. So just keep that in mind if you plan to charge at home. It's definitely going to take a while. If you're planning a DC fast charge, something to keep in mind is whether you get the all-wheel drive model or the rear-wheel drive model. At least in the US, all of the all-wheel drive models in any trim come with a heat pump, and if you get the rear-wheel drive, any trim, you won't get the heat pump. A lot of the forum members in the UK have been talking about slow charging times if they didn't get the heat pump. For them, it was actually an optional add-on called the Eco Pack, regardless of all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, or whatever trim they got. So a lot of those guys are talking about getting speeds way below 50, probably somewhere in the 20 to 30 range per hour, and outside temperatures about 40 degrees. So that's comparable to what I was seeing in terms of outside temperature, but I have the heat pump since I'm all-wheel drive, and with the battery warmed up, I was getting about 100 per hour versus some of those guys seeing 50 or less. And when my battery was a little colder, then I was getting maybe 80 or even down to 50. But again, it was still still better than 20 or 30 kilowatts per hour. So, if you live in a colder climate, besides wanting all-wheel drive for snowy conditions, you may actually want it for DC fast charging, because without the heat pump, those free 30-minute sessions aren't going to get you much charge. So, definitely something to consider. So, just speaking personally, for the past week, doing about 99% of my charging through the EA fast charger, I feel like it's actually fit in pretty seamlessly into my day-to-day schedule. During the work week, I try to fit in a quick charge right after work. That way the battery's still somewhat warm. Plus, if it's just 15 or 20 minutes, I usually have some work emails or texts I have to take care of anyways. So even if I don't do the full 30 minutes, I still get a pretty good amount of charge from it. And then last weekend, after I just got the car, I actually took my 2-year-old son with me, and we just sat in the car and read some books together. So, half an hour can go by pretty quickly. I also have my EA charging station in the same plaza as a Target, so sometimes I'll just go in there if I need something for the house, for the family. Then it just kind of becomes a 2-for-1 visit anyways. So I'd say all in all, I'm very happy with the Ioniq 5, with the charging experience. But once I've logged more charges, I'll definitely come back and share my thoughts. Thanks for watching.